My name is Jens Ronald Frederiksen, and I am a design director on Lego Star Wars. I've been working for Lego for 20 years and with Lego Star Wars almost since the beginning. I made a sketch model in 1999 for that launch, and then I've been working on it constantly since.
Oh, okay.
So,
wow, a lot of history there. Yeah.
And my name is Michael Lee Stockwell, and I've been here for about 11 years, most of the time on Star Wars. Design manager for the project.
I think I'm gonna just jump right in. Actually, one of the things is like we always wanted to find out, like, how's it like working with an IP partner, like from like Lucasfilm, and then after that, kind of like how it translated over to Disney after the sale and everything. Like how's it like before and how's it now, that kind of thing.
well, as you know, we have a long history. We've been working with them for 20 years now, and the transition from Lucasfilm to Disney, it hasn't really been something we have felt a lot. We have a very close cooperation, and it's the same people, some of them that we've been working with all the way since the beginning, so they know the full history as well. They know what we're capable of making and how a Lego model is constructed and so on. So it's right, or it's easy. And I think the big difference was that with Disney came also all the new movies, and that was something that suddenly gave us a lot of new opportunities for making new cool models. So for us it has been a really positive thing.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like that's also one of the things. Because last time, we get like a movie every
almost every year.
I mean, like previously. Previously.
No,
it's like maybe one movie every like 2 years, 3 years, and then there's a big gap before the prequels, and then now we've got like one movie like every. So, does that actually, like you said that more opportunities, but does that also put like more challenges for like the designers? How do the designers like coming up with like new sets of new play features, regularly, like, compared to like before, where you actually like a more protracted timeline?
Well, definitely more challenges. I wouldn't say that the challenges of coming up with new features and whatnot, that's what we love and embrace, but the challenge is when we're developing products for at the same time as a film is being made, getting the information that we need from Lucas Disney to reflect the product or to put into the product is sometimes a challenge, because the director wants to maintain creative license to make what changes are necessary to make the best film possible. And that puts us in a difficult position sometimes when we're trying with the lead time that we have on developing some of the things that we have to do. Right. So it's always with fingers crossed when we go in and see the movie for the first time, did we get it right, kind of thing. And well, with Solo, I think we really got it right, so we're happy about that. So.
Yeah, but there was also things with Solo movie. We have just an example. For instance, if you take this one, we started development at the same time as the movie is being made. So we had worked on this set for quite a while, and then we were informed by Disney, or from Disney, this one might not be in the movie. I was like, oh, that's bad if it's not in the movie anymore. Yeah. And then we actually didn't know anything before we went to the cinema last week, and then we saw, yes, it's in there still. So that was really positive. But it's small surprises like that. The same thing when we're creating new minifigures for the sets. Sometimes we think that a character is really important in a movie and we create it as a new minifigure, and sometimes we get surprises. There was one character from The Force Awakens that we created a new helmet and so on, and he showed just to be seen in a second in the background, and that's again, of course, the movie develops and at the same time as we make the product, so sometimes there are surprises. But I think
this set is a small set. You could say, okay, the development time for a set of this size, we can maybe overcome last minute changes, but the helmet is a brand new two-component helmet. That's a long time under development.
Yeah, it's this one.
I see.
Yeah.
So when you put that much effort into making such a great improvement
and everything,
exactly,
to have it not get the screen time that you're hoping for is really a shame. So
understood. Yeah, I mean, like one of the things that we also notice as like fans, is like for example, like Force Awakens, Kylo Ren shuttle, the one where the wings actually like
Yeah.
open up, and then when we built our set, we were like, hang on. I think also in the Last Jedi, there was this one set where you kind of like had this like walker, but it didn't appear in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you actually.
That's my actually one of my. So no one was more disappointed than I was.
Yeah.
We had actually been told at a point that there was a chance it might not be in the film, but we were crossing our fingers that it would. But and there's a great example that it gets the cut. It's luckily in, if you look at some of the official reference books, it's in those books. So it's still it's officially a part of the Star Wars universe, but it just didn't make it in the final cut, and we have to unfortunately deal with that. Reality sometimes. So.
Yeah, I mean that's the way of movies.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So. But the kids love the product, despite. So I mean, when we go into Lego.com, we write and we take a look at what is a 9-year-old saying about this product. Even it's really positive. They don't have necessarily the same fan view, and we are designing children's toys. So I mean, if they're happy, we're happy.
Yeah, like say for example the I think what's the Snowspeeder. Yeah, I mean that one never actually. Appeared in film. Yeah, but it's part of the universe that
it is, and that was also something where, how do you say, we want to develop and we want to make interesting products. And here we also knew that it was something that would be quite interesting for a lot of fans, because there's some reference back to an old Kenner toy from the beginning and so on. And that was so for us it was a way to make something that's really iconic from Star Wars in a new setting. And we take that liberty, and also Lucas, Disney, they are supporting us when doing something like that, of course.
Which leads to my other question is actually, it's like how much of it comes from Disney saying, okay, I want to get these sets out, and how much comes from you guys and says, hey, I think I got this really interesting idea, can we do this?
I think when setting an assortment or deciding on it's something that is how do you say, it's us. It's like, okay, we need a box of this size, we need a box of this size, and we set this number of products on the shelf. Then, how do you say, with the classics, it's very much us, and it's very much based on kids testing, where we make a lot of sketch models. For instance, this one has Yoda's home has been an extremely strong performer in kids test, where put the model in front of children and then see how they react, and so they have a huge influence on how our assortment look like. It's another thing when we talk about new movies, because we don't know, we get a download of the story all the way in the beginning, and then we discuss and how do you say, agree with the Lucas Disney people about what could be a strong assortment. So they of course have a big influence on that. So it is a close cooperation in general.
Oh, okay. Yeah, which also leads to the other question of like, because these are sets that are with movies. But like say for example like the UCS, how does the process go to say like, okay, I'm gonna go and release a brand new UCS versus like, oh, do we get to do an update like the Millennium Falcon, like the Y-Wing or the Snowspeeder, or do we come up with something brand new which is like Slave One, and so forth? Yeah, it's like, how does that process
we are actually, because these models are largely directed at the fans' wishes, so we're constantly tapping into those wish lists and trying to think, okay, what would they appreciate the most now? And we try and
see what's popular. And if it's something now, for instance, the Y-Wing, well, it was released the first time in 2004. That's many years ago.
I got about that.
So no, and then of course we can see how popular it still is, and then it's a natural thing that that's what we want to bring to the table. So, but I think you'll probably see in the future also that it'll always be a mix of remakes and brand new things. So,
which will lead me to the other question, which I think you probably got asked like the whole day today. So, why did the Millennium Falcon take so long to come back?
Yeah, that's a good question. First of all, logistically. And resources and everything, designing a product like that is crazy.
I think we were also concerned about whether or not the general public was prepared for an update of that caliber. It's a big model. The old model with today's, even if you were to reissue the exact same old model, we couldn't do it for the same price as we did it back then. So how much of a jump in all directions, in size and improvement and in price, how much can the market absorb? Are they prepared for this?
Yeah, but I think one thing that's important to note is also that's a clear evidence of that we are listening to consumers, because we knew that everybody were complaining, there should have been interior and so on in the first one, and that's what we're doing. And I have to say, it's a little bit of special case with designing something like that, because the very first one was designed the opposite way of how we normally work, where I'm giving a brief to the designer and you have to meet this price point.
Right.
Where back in the days it was just like, no, make the ultimate Millennium Falcon, then we're going to price it afterwards. And basically it worked the same way this time, because that was not within given frames, or some kind of frames though, but it was like we had no idea that it would end up being more than 7,000 pieces.
No.
So again, it was a little bit of the same thing, where okay, we are on this level with that many elements, so it's gonna be around this.
So the brief was
price.
make it ultimate, and let's see where we land.
And see where we land, and then
So,
it's like okay, it's gonna be this much. But I think the response for the Falcon has been amazing. I can speak for Asia. It's like completely people like the reservation list is like 10 pages long, and they still haven't got their set yet.
No, and that's of course also a little bit frustrating for us. It totally took us by surprise that it would be so popular. So, and it's a huge.
We counted on a success, but not like this.
And that's of course also it's a pity we can't deliver enough. But well, we are definitely doing our best.
Yeah, I mean they geared up production in every way possible to meet the demand. So
there's nothing more that can be done.
No.
So,
So the other UCS questions I have is actually like the ones like assault on Hoth. Yeah. So I mean, it's like what was kind of like the process of that getting to product line? Because I mean, I think a lot of and to actually be like like the label, like what goes what goes into the rationale of like labeling something. This is a UCS and that's not a UCS.
Oh, that's again, that's one of the really difficult ones, because we know there's been I've read a lot about it as well, about what are the criteria, and nobody really knew what is the criteria. Then it was basically the fans that made, okay, if it's on a stand and if it has the nameplate and so on. So there's suddenly something that made it a UCS, and that's what we are doing now. We are saying that if it have the stand and if it's mainly for display, then it is a UCS. So, but there will still be models of different categories, where there are some that are for display, where it will come with maybe 1 or 2 minifigures, and then we probably not made the last set where it's more playable, but still a big model.
Yeah.
So, but with I don't know if you asked specifically on the assault on Hoth, and I don't know, because that was one of the sets that didn't get so positive response.
Exactly.
And I can just because I don't think anybody really know what the reasoning behind it is, but I can definitely now I'm replying to a question you didn't ask, but but still, because what happened there was you can question how much of an assault is it when you only have 2 guys attacking. But the reason was that at the time when we developed the model, it was postponed for several reasons. But we were originally going to launch it at the same time where we still had the AT-AT and other sets from Hoth. So you were able to actually make this huge assault on Hoth. But because the set was postponed, suddenly that strategy kind of fell apart. So I hope a lot of people would probably have the AT-AT already, so they're able to make this assault on Hoth. But that was the reason behind that.
Behind that one, I see. Well, I mean that makes more sense. Yes, yeah. Because I mean, when it first arrived, a lot of us were like, okay, this is like a super pack second one is like super packs, and then we were thinking like, am I supposed to like buy like 2 or 3 of these to make like a huge diorama? But we don't have any AT-ATs or ATSTs on the shelf. Yeah. So even I think at that time also the Snowspeeders were like. Was that a Snowspeeder? Or
there was a Snowspeeder,
and the AT-AT was
because how was it? I can't remember.
I did both those models
Exactly, and I think it's the orange generic one that's in the Sol and Hoth, and then we had separately loops. It could be bought separately. So that one and the AT-AT would kind of make the scene more complete. So
that was the thinking behind it.
But timing.
That was a timing issue, and definitely something we have learned a lesson there. So that it's so important.
Cool. So is there anything you can tell us about the next UCS that's coming?
Yeah, we can tell you the next year's assortment. So
where's the NDA? I'll sign it right now.
Unfortunately, we can't say anything except that we are going to do more stuff.
And you'll love it.
Yes. Like
we love it.
We love it.
It's like a certain Cloud City. It's like
we can't say anything, but we of course know what people they like. So and we do our best to try and fulfill wishes. So, but it's unfortunately we can't say anything.
Understood.
If I may.
Sure.
On that issue, would you theoretically reconsider another go at the Superstar Destroyer, because the old Superstar Destroyer set is amazing, but pretty much impossible to buy these days?
Well, again, we can't say anything, but we are listening to, reading comments from fan groups and so on. So I can't say
the
anything
answer is yes, we would consider it.
Absolutely.
All iconic ships are on the list of considered.
Yes, we have
items.
keeping this list. What are the most wanted minifigures? What are the most wanted sets and uses?
ISD.
What?
ISD. Imperial Star Destroyer. It needs an update. My magnets are losing their charge.
Oh yeah.
So the panels are falling off.
We know about that issue.
Moving them back into place. Yes, please.
So let's see.
Yes.
So,
okay. I guess. The other question also is, it goes back to re-releases, but also of like mainline sets. Like for example, like the recent announcement, there's going to be like another Sandcrawler, there's going to be another X-Wing, and which is there.
That's
exactly.
Yes.
And because I collect X-Wings, so I've collected like the X-Wing from the first one all the way till now. So this one I have to get as well. But I just want to know, it's like, what's the also like the rationale to go to constantly like, I think there's like 5 X-Wings now?
I think we've done more.
Or more than that, right?
I think there's more,
Of like
if you take the Force Awakens.
I'm not counting like Pose.
Okay.
Oh, you're just talking about
then I think it's around 5.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like just for like the audience, like what's the rationale of like keep releasing these, like, and Anakin's like Starfighter, I think that's like the 3rd one as well.
It's simple. And that's because just like City always has a fire station because there's a new generation of kids that want to build a fire station. Our kids are moving out of the target range, and we want to provide that same experience for the next generation of kids. And I can see, if you're looking at it through collectors or fans goggles, then you're going to see it maybe like, do we need the update? But the kids need
these are kind of like the equivalent of like your kind of like mainline.
It's an icon.
It's an icon, a Star Wars icon.
So it's something that needs to be on shelf most of the time.
And I think we can justify anytime. I mean, we would never put it out again if we didn't feel we could give the consumer another and hopefully a better build experience than the last time. We're always trying to. We start from the beginning, design it from the ground up, and hopefully we give them a fantastic experience again.
And we look at consumer feedback. That's also a very important tool for us. That's the first thing the designer does when starting on a remake. Start from scratch and look into consumer feedback. That's the key.
And we're constantly developing new building elements, and those new building elements influence the capabilities that we have to improve the design.
I guess my next question would be more on like the personal ones, like like for both of you. It's like what was like your all-time favorite set to actually work on?
For me, it was 10179, the first UCS Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the one that's a bit of special. It's a UCS model, but still, the reason was because it actually, I told you about the reverse brief before, where I was just make the most amazing model, but also the fact that it started out as a project that I just did for fun in the after hours in the office. And it was just, I was sitting there building that huge thing, and then it was our direct-to-consumer team that came by and said, "Hey, what's that?" I said, "It's just for fun." It's for fun. Why not make a product? Like, okay. So that for that reason, I think that was that's a special one for me.
I gotta say that I really like that in the design of the frame of the Millennium Falcon, that to carry it, you actually had to just like
in the middle,
in the middle, and it's like you can tell when the people like who have never actually built a Falcon or like have never owned a Falcon, they always try to carry it from
no, that's true. So
well, we've had this question a couple of times, and I think to be consistent, I talked about that
you could have done something else.
Well, I think that what I enjoy when I'm working on a set, and I have trouble actually picking one favorite, but I like when I can add something unique or new to the design of something, because we are often doing remakes.
Yeah.
So back for The Force Awakens, I did the remake of the TIE Fighter.
Yeah.
And I took the wing design from where it was previous, which was a smaller wing without any edge detail, and developed that wing. And then again with the red and black TIE Fighter, and now I didn't do this one, but it's still the same wing design that's carried through. So it's somewhat set a new benchmark for that. And anytime I can do that, I felt in some ways, when I worked on the AT-AT, it did the same kind of thing. You want to go back in and solve problems that were there before the fans would like to see improvements on it. If we can do that, that's where I get my kick.
But if I have to say just an overall favorite Star Wars set, then I would have to say it's the Death Star.
One or two.
Well, I don't care.
Because,
no, the reason behind it is what I think we've really with that achieved what is, I don't know if it's part of our mission, because what you have there is something that's super complex to build. Very often it'll be something, it's super attractive, kids love it, and it's something you very often maybe build with your mom or dad. So you have this, and you all know that the best time is the one spent with your parents, So you have this joint built together, and then afterwards the kid is able to play out all the scenes, from the Death Stars, and there's a lot of play in it afterwards. That kind of thing. Yeah. If we can stimulate that,
I see.
That's something I think is super valuable.
It's like more of like creating that play set, the play environment. Yeah. Actually, I really like the Endor. Yeah. The Endor set. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a beautiful set. It looks super nice when built. So
exactly. So that's what I got too. So it's kind of like get a bit more, bulk to the place.
Yes.
Yeah. Another one is also like as a designer, what is your like favorite go-to element? Like a piece, something.
Well,
you have a good one.
Yeah, I have a good one. We call it the Erling, the element that I'm going to tell you, and it's spelled ERLING, and that's a Danish name. It's the first name of the fellow that developed the element, and he's no longer Lego. It's many years ago this element was, and you know it well. It's a 1x1 brick, and it has a stud on the side, but the stud is recessed in the brick, and there's a square hole in the back
I think
of
you
the
call
brick.
it the headlight.
Headlight bricks.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, so it's actually called an Erling brick.
That's what we call it.
Oh, that's what you
It
guys-
has
okay.
no official name, but internally it's called the Erling.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I know because it's like it gives you that.
A lot of building
Yeah.
possibilities. So
Yeah, and you can change directions.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I it's not my only favorite, but it's certainly one that pops into mind.
Cool. Are you?
Well, I could be boring, just say a standard Lego brick, a 2x4 or something like that. But I can also say something else, because when I'm looking at a model like this, then I think an element like this is the head of R2D2 is actually a fantastic element, because you have something was designed as the head for R2D2, but at the same time it's also a brilliant building element that have been used for I don't know how many other things without the decoration on. So I think when we are able to do something that's, well, this is specifically for a Star Wars character, but in red, green, or whatever other color, it's just usable for so many other things. So that's what I would say is a good Lego element in my world.
Right.
I'm really proud of a lot of the elements that Star Wars has done recently, doing the skirt element that we did here. We also talked about with the last film, the spring-loaded shooter was also a Star Wars creation. And I mean, to be able to make elements like that work so well in our system.
Yeah, and also in other contexts,
Exactly.
or other product lines. Like I don't think anybody would have guessed that if we're going to develop a skirt for a minifigure, it'll be Star Wars that created it. But well, it is just super useful for us.
Yeah.
And by the way, did you notice the height of it? That it means the old one, when we built it with a 2x2 angle stone,
too tall.
they would be one plate higher.
Higher, yeah.
And
So like
nobody likes girls
Yeah.
that are higher than themselves. So
Okay, I'll just add another plate to the guy or something. I'll give him like individual
So-
1x1 plates or something to stand on. But yeah, I know. So that there would be that height difference, but now it's you know.
And of course, you now get the proper connection also.
Yeah,
And space for the arms. It's also narrower, so it actually it works with the arms
that's
can pass. So yeah.
Very
So whenever we and it happens, we are able to do that kind of element. That's cool.
I mean, it's like, say for example, like, you know, for a part like this, like, it's like, what was the process to say like, okay guys, I think we need to get a new part. I've got to go and tell somebody to go make it. You know,
No, we design it.
you design it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, like the production side, would they actually have to say like, would they come back and say, I'm sorry, no, I don't think that this thing is gonna work, or do you say like, yes,
there's
I really need this, and
Well, there's a process. I mean, the sky is definitely not the limit. I mean, we have limitations as to what we can do, and we work. We are constantly developing new elements. So the process is not new. We have teams of engineers we work very closely with. So we're feeding new designs into that development machine all the time. So we're used to the restrictions and limitations of the production, but we're also, of course, as designers, always pushing those limits, trying to get them to innovate as much as we want to innovate design-wise, and together we raise the bar. I mean,
I guess.
Sorry to interrupt, but we have the Lego Ideas announcement in 10 minutes.
Oh, we do. Oh.
Do you want to wrap up?
I guess I could wrap up, but yeah, Lego ideas.
I need to go there. So.
Yeah. So you're gonna come. You're gonna
I'm
do the
going
post.
to go there.
You're gonna go and post. Okay, I think I can wrap up, and I think just let me see, 20th anniversary of the Lego Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything?
That's next year.
Yeah. Anything?
It is?
Anything? That-
Well, we can't reveal anything, but of course it's a milestone. Yeah, you'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. ISD.
So,
Super Star Destroyer.